Alarm bells ringing nationwide, direct deposit pathways facing shakeups, regulatory fine print shifting, grandparents budgeting medicine, caregivers juggling utilities, veterans counting grocery dollars deserve foresight before surprises strike. Financial institutions rolling out identity rechecks, algorithmic holds, micro-verifications, glitches triggering postponed credits, reversed transfers, locked ledgers. Households depending upon monthly benefit streams require preparedness today. Conversation decodes upcoming framework, which profiles face friction, warning signals signaling trouble, practical defenses guarding cash flow, stability. Checklist includes account hygiene, beneficiary records, routing confirmations, fraud shields, timing buffers. Knowledge transforms anxiety into agency. Storylines feature real families navigating hiccups, neighborhood wisdom spotlighting workarounds, watchdog tips exposing imposters. Viewers gain playbook ensuring stability across credit unions, fintech wallets, legacy banks alike. Calendars update daily. Notifications arrive via textless mailers, dashboard badges, IVR prompts. Enrollment portals request docu-uploads, selfie matches, liveness checks. Verification queues stretch during peak cycles. Patience-paired foresightfulness minimizes disruption. Paper check recipients encounter rerouting, courier lag, missorts. P.O. box renters monitor counters closely. Rural elders depend neighborhood advocates, librarians, church stewards, clinic volunteers bridging digital divides. Household planners craft contingencies, emergency cushions, staggered autopay schedules, overdraft waivers, fee appeals, credit builder loans. Consumer hotlines publish advisories. Ombuds offices log complaints. Journalists chase transparency. Data cyber discipline matters. Password vaults, passkeys, device locks, firmware patches, Wi-Fi. Regional rollouts vary. Pilot programs touch Sunbelt metros, Midwest towns, coastal hubs. Multilingual outreach expands Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Mandarin broadcasts. Accessibility features include captions, large print notices, screen reader compatibility. Fairness metrics track disparate impacts among disability, age, income, geography. Actionable takeaways empower guardianship nominees, power of attorney holders, representative payees, trustees. Documentation readiness shortens remediation windows. Record-keeping habits strengthen petitions. Persistence wins. Press-like. You're here because this matters to you, and you're absolutely right to pay attention. When changes start happening around something as essential as your Social Security deposits, it's not just policy talk, it's personal. This is your grocery money, your rent money, your medication money, your peace of mind. And the truth is, most people only find out something has changed after their deposit is late, missing, or frozen. By then, the damage is already done. That's why we're having this conversation now, before problems show up, so you can stay ahead instead of scrambling. Across the country, banks are quietly updating how they handle accounts that receive government benefits. Some of these updates are connected to fraud prevention, some are tied to new verification systems, and some are the result of broader regulatory changes that affect how deposits are processed and approved. On paper, these changes sound reasonable. In real life, they can cause delays, confusion, and unnecessary stress for people who depend on every dollar arriving on time. If you've ever logged into your bank account expecting your deposit and felt that sinking feeling when the balance wasn't there, you already know how scary that moment can be. Your mind immediately jumps to worst-case scenarios. Did something go wrong? Did your benefits stop? Did someone access your account? Or is the bank holding your money? Those are the exact situations more people are starting to experience, and not because they did anything wrong. Some financial institutions have begun tightening their verification systems, meaning they may require updated identification, extra account confirmations, or additional internal reviews before releasing deposits. For someone working a regular job, that might be a mild inconvenience. For someone living on a fixed income, waiting even a few extra days for money can be devastating. Late fees don't wait. Pharmacies don't wait. Utility companies don't wait. Life doesn't wait. What makes this even harder is that many of these changes aren't communicated clearly. Banks often bury updates in small print notices, emails that look like spam, or messages inside online banking portals that many people rarely check. So the first real sign something has changed becomes the missing money itself. That's not fair, and it's not something you should be left to deal with alone or unprepared. The goal here isn't to scare you. The goal is to empower you. Because the more you understand what's happening behind the scenes, the better positioned you are to protect your deposits, your account, and your financial stability. Knowledge in this situation isn't just power, it's protection. One of the biggest shifts happening right now involves identity verification. Banks are under increasing pressure to prevent fraud, which means they're using automated systems to flag accounts for review. These systems don't always get it right. Sometimes an account gets flagged simply because nothing has changed in a long time. Sometimes it's because a login came from a new device. Sometimes it's because of a routine internal audit. The result can be a temporary hold on funds until the bank completes its review. For someone waiting on their Social Security deposit, that temporary delay can feel like a crisis. The worst part is that the system often doesn't explain itself clearly. You might just see that your funds are pending, unavailable, or under review, without any clear timeline for when things will resolve. That uncertainty creates anxiety, and it can feel like your own money is being held hostage. This is why staying proactive matters more than ever, not because you've done anything wrong, but because systems don't always account for real human consequences. Many people assume that once they set up direct deposit, everything will just continue smoothly forever. Most of the time that's true, until suddenly it's not. There's also a growing issue with outdated information. Banks are increasingly requiring that customer records remain current, including addresses, phone numbers, and identification documents. If your account still lists an old address, an expired ID, or outdated contact information, your account could be flagged automatically. That doesn't mean you're in trouble. It just means the system wants confirmation. But again, if that process isn't completed in time, your deposit could be affected. Think about how many people opened their bank accounts years ago and haven't updated anything since. That's completely normal. But now, systems are changing, and normal behavior is suddenly being treated like a risk. This is especially true for seniors who don't regularly use online banking or who prefer paper statements. They may not see the digital notices their bank sends. They may not know their account needs attention until something goes wrong. That's why awareness is the first step. You don't need to panic. You don't need to assume something bad will happen. But you do need to stay engaged with your bank account in ways that protect you. That means occasionally checking your account settings, making sure your contact information is current, and not ignoring messages from your bank just because they look routine. Another reality that deserves attention is how fraud prevention tools can sometimes backfire on the very people they're meant to protect. Banks use sophisticated monitoring systems to detect unusual activity. That sounds reassuring, and in many cases, it is. But those systems are not perfect. They don't understand context. They don't know your personal story. They only see patterns. If your account shows behavior that suddenly looks different to an algorithm, even if it's completely legitimate, that can trigger a review. Maybe you used a new ATM. Maybe you logged in from a different device. Maybe you helped a family member with a transaction. To a computer system, any of those changes can look suspicious. To you, it's just life. When those flags occur close to deposit time, that's when delays are most likely to happen. And again, this isn't about blame. It's about understanding the environment so you can navigate it confidently instead of being blindsided by it. What's especially important is that Social Security recipients often assume that if something goes wrong, it must be the SSA's fault. But increasingly, the issue isn't the government sending the money. It's what happens once that money reaches the banking system. The deposit may have been issued right on time, but internal bank procedures can slow down when you actually gain access to it. This creates confusion because people call Social Security, and they're told the payment was sent. Then they call the bank, and they're told it's pending. Meanwhile, bills are due, and stress builds. That's the reality many people are beginning to face more frequently, and it's why this conversation matters so much. Staying in control means treating your bank relationship as an active partnership rather than a passive setup. It means knowing how to contact your bank, knowing where to check messages, and knowing that if something feels off, you have every right to ask questions. You are not being difficult by protecting your own money. You are being responsible. There's also something else happening that deserves attention, and that's the rise of sophisticated scams that mimic bank communications. As real banks increase their messaging, scammers are taking advantage of the confusion. They send emails, texts, and calls that look convincing, claiming there's an issue with your deposit and asking you to verify information. This is where awareness becomes critical. No legitimate bank or government agency will ever ask you to provide your social security number, full account details, or login credentials through an unsolicited call or message. Yet people are tricked every day because the message arrives at a moment of fear. Your deposit is on hold. Your account has been flagged. Immediate action required. Those phrases are designed to create panic so you act quickly instead of cautiously. The safest response is always to slow down. If you receive a message that worries you, don't click the link. Don't call the number in the message. Instead, contact your bank directly using the official number on your bank card or statement. That one habit alone can protect you from most fraud attempts. What's frustrating is that these systems and changes are often implemented without considering the emotional toll on the people most affected. For someone who has worked their entire life, who depends on their benefits, and who deserves stability, being told to just wait while we review your account can feel deeply unfair. And you're not wrong to feel that way. But here's the good news. Most of these issues are preventable when you stay just one step ahead. You don't need to become a financial expert. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need to stay informed, stay aware, and stay engaged with your own accounts. That's what gives you control. We're living in a time where systems are becoming more automated, more data-driven, and more impersonal. That can be helpful in many ways, but it also means that people who don't fit neatly into the system can get caught in it. Seniors, people with disabilities, and individuals on fixed incomes are often the ones who feel the impact first and hardest. That's why community awareness is so important. When you understand what's happening, you can share that knowledge with friends, family members, neighbors, and loved ones who might not be as connected or as informed. Sometimes the difference between someone being protected and someone being blindsided is simply whether they heard the information in time. It's also important to remember that you are not powerless in this system. You have rights as a customer. You have the right to clear communication. You have the right to access your money. You have the right to ask questions. And you have the right to expect reasonable treatment from institutions that hold your funds. Banks are not doing this to target Social Security recipients. These changes are happening across the entire financial system. But that doesn't change the reality that people on fixed incomes have less room for error. A delay that's annoying for someone else can be devastating for someone else. That's why it's essential to take these developments seriously. There's a reason so many people are starting to talk about this. There's a reason complaints are increasing. There's a reason conversations like this are becoming more common. It's not because something catastrophic has happened across the board. It's because enough people have experienced small disruptions that it's become a noticeable pattern. And patterns are what we pay attention to. If your deposits have been arriving on time, that's great. It doesn't mean you need to assume something will go wrong. It just means you're in a strong position to keep things running smoothly by staying aware. Think of it like regular maintenance rather than emergency repair. A little attention now can prevent a lot of stress later. This is also a moment to encourage patience with yourself. Financial systems can be intimidating, especially if you didn't grow up using digital tools or navigating online accounts. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are adapting to a system that is constantly changing, often without clear guidance. That's not easy, and it deserves respect. What matters most is that you don't ignore what's happening. You don't assume it will never affect you, and you don't feel embarrassed about asking questions or seeking clarity. Protecting your benefits is not something you should ever feel uncomfortable doing. It's something you've earned. As this video continues, we're going to stay focused on clarity, on real-world understanding, and on helping you feel more confident rather than more anxious. You deserve information that respects your intelligence and your experience. You deserve to understand what's happening in plain language, without jargon, without confusion, and without fear-based exaggeration. This conversation exists because too many people have been caught off guard. It exists because people deserve better than silence and fine print. And it exists because your financial stability matters. Every deposit matters. Every dollar matters. Every month matters. So stay with me. Take this information seriously. Share it with someone who might need it. And remember that being informed doesn't make you fearful, it makes you prepared. Preparation is what keeps you in control when systems change around you. Your money should work for you, not confuse you. Your benefits should support you, not stress you. And your future should feel secure, not uncertain. That's why we're here.